Favorite Bitcoin mining stock, Riot Platforms, has just surprised investors with an earlier than expected Q3 earnings report. So in this video, I simply want to read over a few highlights from this earnings report, go over some of the numbers, go over some of their progress, and some not so good news that's tied in here as well. You'll find out what that is soon. And then we'll, of course, take a look at Riot on the charts, talk some technicals, and, revised price targets where I now believe Riot can go in the short to medium term as we close out the year of 2023 and head into the new year. Okay, so that's the video, you guys. Short and sweet. Just going to sit back and get to reading. So hope you do the same and enjoy. Cheers. It's the afternoon. It's about that time, So November 7th, Riot Platforms reports third quarter 2023 financial results, current operational and financial highlights. Riot reports $51.9 million in total revenue, new all-time record hash rate capacity of 10.9 exahashes, and expanded execution of power strategy. Castle Rock, Colorado. Riot, or the company, an industry leader in Bitcoin mining and data center hosting, reported financial results for the 3-month period ended September 30th, 2023. Okay, and in the beginning, I did say they surprised us with these earnings results. Riot was initially intended, at least, or expected by analysts to report earnings on the 13th. So we're about a week early, 6 days to be precise. Okay, so this is a quote from their CEO, Jason Les. I am excited to announce third quarter 2023 results for Riot, as this quarter demonstrated ongoing execution of our long-term strategic plan to grow and thrive post-halving, said Jason Les, CEO of Riot. Riot's core business is Bitcoin mining, and the scale of our vertically integrated operations and financial strength allowed us to execute our power strategy at scale during this quarter. Riot mined a total of 1,106 Bitcoin during the quarter, bringing our total production for 2023 year-to-date to 4,996. If only they were able to get 4 more to round it out. It's coming, though. We are extremely pleased. Actually, they probably reached 5K. They're definitely above 5K at this point. So congrats on 5K. We are extremely pleased to report that our power strategy successfully drove down our 2023 year-to-date average cost to mine to $5,537 per Bitcoin. It's a pretty good business considering Bitcoin is currently sitting at 35K, above 35K. Okay, further solidifying our position as a leading low-cost producer of Bitcoin. At the same time, we have taken advantage of the positive market conditions to raise significant amounts of capital to fund our ongoing growth plans while also further strengthening our financial liquidity. Riot finished the quarter with $290 million in cash on hand and 7,327 Bitcoin, representing a combined total of nearly $500 million in liquidity. That's a strong cash stack to have, especially considering, let me close my email app. Sorry about that. That's a strong cash stack to have, considering Riot is currently sitting at a market cap of $2.2 billion. Okay, $500 million cash with the $2.2 billion market cap. And, enough said there. Okay. Finally, the last quotes before going on to those highlights. I'm confident that the strategic steps we have taken will position Riot as a leading low-cost producer, allow us to continue to fund our growth plans, and enhance our balance sheet strength ahead of the upcoming halving, Bitcoin halving, of course, where the supply or the Bitcoin that being pushed into circulation is cut in half, okay? And to be completely honest, that's bad news for miners, but it's good news for Bitcoin, so hopefully that balances out. We'll see when the time comes, okay? Cross that bridge when we come to it. Combined, these steps further solidify our position as a leader in driving the cross-industry transformation of energy and money through Bitcoin mining. Moving on to the third quarter 2023 financial and operational highlights. Okay, so total revenue of $51.9 million as compared to $46.3 million for the same 3-month period in 2022. The increase was primarily driven by a 6% increase in Bitcoin production as compared to the same 3-month period in 2022, coupled with higher Bitcoin prices, which averaged $28,230 per Bitcoin for the quarter, an increase of 33% as compared to an average price of $21,000 per Bitcoin for the same 3-month period in 2022. I'm just going to round out these numbers, okay, guys? And again, average cost is going up. Bitcoin, of course, is looking like we're on track to continue averaging up. So that's good news for all of us, right? Okay. Average cost, Bitcoin mining revenue. Produced 1,106 Bitcoin during the quarter as compared to 1,042 Bitcoin during the same month 3-month period in 2022. Higher Bitcoin production was driven by significant increase in miners deployed year over year, offset by increased curtailment as a result of our power strategy and an increase in the Bitcoin network difficulty. The average cost to mine Bitcoin was negative $6,141 in the third quarter as compared to $8,227 per Bitcoin for the same 3-month period in 2022. Earned $49.6 million in power curtailment credits during the quarter as compared to $13.1 million in power curtailment credits earned for the same 3-month period in 2022. So that's a solid bump right there. Bitcoin mining revenue of $31.2 million for the quarter as compared to $22 million. So that's almost a 50% jump year over year. Just going to move on, kind of summarize this a little bit for you guys. Data center hosting revenue of $5.1 million for the quarter as compared to $8.4 million for the same 3-month period, so that's going down a little bit. Engineering revenue of $15.5 million for the quarter as compared to $15.8 million for this. So, I mean, it's about stagnant, slightly down. Maintained industry-leading financial position with $442.3 million in working capital, including $290.1 million in cash on hand, and again, 7,327 in unencumbered Bitcoin. Unaudited, okay, all that. Third quarter financial results, total revenue for the 3 months period ended September 30th was $15.9 million and consisted of $31.2 million in Bitcoin mining revenue, $5.1 million in data center hosting revenue, and $15.5 million in engineering revenue. Bitcoin mining revenue in excess of Bitcoin mining cost of revenue for the quarter was $6.8 million, 22% of mining revenue, as compared to $7.4 million or 33% of mining revenue for the same 3-month period in 2022, a decrease of $600,000 driven by higher labor costs due to the expansion of the Rockdale facility. Okay, so they're hiring more people, they're expanding operations. It's going to cost more money for more heads. Bitcoin mining cost of revenue consists primarily of direct production cost of mining operations, including electricity, labor, and insurance, but excludes depreciation and amortization. Well, EBITDA, shout out to the EBITDA metrics right there. Data center hosting cost of revenue in excess of data center hosting revenue for the quarter was $21 million. Data center hosting cost of revenue consists primarily of direct power costs, with the balance primarily incurred for compensation and rent costs. Engineering revenue in excess of engineering cost of revenue for the quarter was $2.3 million, 15% of engineering revenue, as compared to $2 million or 13% of engineering revenue for the same 3-month period in 2022. Engineering cost of revenue consists primarily of direct materials and labor, as well as indirect manufacturing costs. Let's take a sip of this, take a breath. Cheers. It's the holidays. It's the first chilly day over in Hawaii, so I figured it was an appropriate time to throw on the hoodie. Waves hoodie coming up next. Power curtailment credits received totaled approximately $49.6 million for the quarter as compared to $13.1 million. Again, huge jump there during the same 3-month period last year. And equates to approximately 1,757 Bitcoin as computed by using average daily closing Bitcoin prices on a monthly basis. If power credits were directly allocated between Bitcoin mining cost of revenue and data center hosting cost of revenue based on proportional power consumption, Bitcoin mining cost of revenue would have decreased by $31.2 million, increasing Bitcoin mining revenue in excess of cost of revenue to $38 million. On a non-GAAP basis, while data center hosting cost of revenue would have decreased by $18.4 million, reducing data center hosting costs in excess of revenue to $2.7 million on a non-GAAP basis. Selling, we're closing it out here, guys, and we'll take a quick look at this hash rate chart. Selling, general, and administrative expenses during the quarter totaled $29.1 million, an increase of $13.1 million relative to the same period last year. The increase was primarily due to an increase in stock-based compensation of $10 million due to our long-term incentive plan implemented during the quarter, compensation expenses of $2 million as a result of hiring additional employees to support our ongoing growth, and increased professional fees of $2.3 million, primarily related to the public company compliance and information technology projects. Here's the kicker. Net loss for the quarter was $45.3 million, or 25 cents per share, compared to a net loss of $32 million, or 21 cents per share last year. So, again, revenue is going up for the most part, at least. Okay, they're on the right trajectory as far as revenue and growth metrics are concerned, but they're burning more cash. Thankfully, they have, again, close to $500 million in liquidity on hand on their balance sheet. That's good. That gives them a strong run rate in the case that they were to continue burning this much. So, I mean, roughly 10 quarters, if they just keep burning that much. But they're on the right trajectory. I trust in Riot's. We've watched this company for a long time, you guys. I trust in their ability and the CEO's ability, the team's ability to bring them closer to profitability once again. Again, the macroeconomic backdrop is kind of tough right now. Energy is tough. Stormy season just happened, so that's I'm not going to read this, but as you can see here, due to the impact of damage incurred to Building G during a severe windstorm in December of last year, that definitely took a dent or took a toll on their operational capacity. So, there's always going to be curveballs thrown. That's the game. But all in all, Riot, as far as operations is concerned, is going up and to the right. Okay. So non-GAAP adjusted EBITDA for the quarter was $31.6 million as compared to non-GAAP adjusted EBITDA of $4.3 million for the same 3-month period in 2022. So once again, on the right trajectory. The loss per share is, I think, the reason Riot's currently down about 2.8% in after hours following this call. Not too bad, to be honest. But overall, Riot is looking promising. I'm excited to see what the stock can do. And again, I'll talk about price targets right after we quickly look at this. So zoom in here. This is Riot's exahash scale. We'll look at this. You can see here by the time, assuming full exercise of additional micro BT purchase options comes through, they're expecting, I shouldn't have zoomed in that much, but by 2025, 36.3 exahashes compared to where we are now, or where we close the quarter at 20.2 exahashes. Okay, so that's significantly more. Again, the Bitcoin mining is having, which will definitely take a toll on miners. But let's hope that if history repeats itself or rhymes, Bitcoin will appreciate significantly in anticipation, or at least in the near future following the halving. Okay, so that's that, you guys. Right, just bumped up a little bit in after hours if you happen to see that, but we're looking good, you guys. I don't think this is, again, the net loss and loss on EPS is what I didn't want to see, especially in this environment that is rewarding profitability. But growth metrics are strong. If Bitcoin performs, Bitcoin's looking good right now too. If Bitcoin continues to climb, then Bitcoin miners will follow suit, at least for the most part. There are always slight caveats to that. But if Bitcoin climbs, I think Bitcoin's going to like 38, 40K within the next couple of weeks, definitely by the end of the month. If that happens, I do think Riot will continue to climb, because even though like the NASDAQ is, I just covered this in my newsletter, the NASDAQ's in breakout mode too. So on that note, before we discuss technicals and kind of the short-term price targets, if you guys want to know how I'm trading Riot on a day-to-day basis, when I'm buying, when I'm selling, what contracts I have, what call options I have on a Riot Platforms, and a whole lot of these other names you can see on the watch list. There's a lot of names in the options portfolio right now, you guys, and of course the stock portfolio as well. If you want to join Waves Capital, if you want to know how I'm trading my personal portfolio on a day-to-day basis, it's the first link in the description. My complete portfolio and daily newsletter. You get, if you do sign up, everything that this little box right here entails, and I'll let you choose whichever pricing plan you'd like. So if you do sign up, I'm excited to ride the waves with you, and welcome to the winning team. If not, no worries at all. I hope you enjoyed this video regardless. Okay, so Bitcoin, and just a little shout out. This is what the daily newsletters look like. 2 every day. We'll just quickly scroll down here. This is dating back just like, I think 10 days or so. So a whole lot going on here. You also get my daily newsletter as well on top of every position in my portfolio. Okay, trade alert, price targets, newsletters every day. That's the drill. Okay, I just had to shout that out. Riot Platforms is currently in a pretty strong little short-term ascending channel. So we'll go short-term first, then we'll zoom out and take a look at the longer term, even going into July of next year. Okay, so this is no longer relevant. They're supposed to announce earnings once again on the 13th, but that's not the case anymore. It's kind of even these out just for the sake of my sanity. Riot Platforms currently is in a strong short-term ascending channel. Okay, so a little reversal following this break of conservative resistance. If you guys go watch that last video I posted on Riot just over a week or almost 2 weeks ago now, maybe a week and a half ago, at least as of posting this video, Riot has broken above my conservative line of resistance. The reason I call it conservative is because, again, top here back in July of this year. Second touch point here, creating that conservative line of resistance this line right here, I have to move the blue glass. I can't tell if that's green. That's green. Okay, green or cyan. This green line right here is absolute resistance, okay? The only difference here is a single candle wick, but I never really like using those singular candle wicks like you can see right here. Although it did perfectly come into play, as you guys can see here. As of yesterday, we perfectly tested, or not perfectly tested, we were perfectly rejected. We closed just underneath this line of absolute resistance, this green line right here once again. And just referencing that conservative line of resistance, that's why it comes into play. You can see here it was rejected twice off the conservative line. So both of these lines have come into play almost to a T. So for anyone who is still skeptical or hesitant on the validity or efficacy of stick figure trend lines, I know it seems goofy. I thought that at first too. I thought that for years. But if you don't believe in them, you simply haven't been watching the charts for long enough, or you haven't been trading for long enough, okay? So that's that. That's my 2 cents there. And I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Regardless, I do think that, again, this earnings report, stock is down a little bit in after hours. Ultimately, I don't think this will have much of an effect on it. I do think the price action of Bitcoin and growth, equity growth sectors, kind of big tech, will dictate the price action of Riot. And I do think that at the very least in the short term, Riot can climb. Let's get a price range here to the top end of the short-term ascending channel. Let's just go by the 13th within the next week or so. As of you watching this video, again, we'll zoom out and talk some longer term for those who are watching it at a later date potentially. By mid-November, I do think we can climb another 14 to 15%, take us up above $12 if we can break out of the short-term ascending channel. Again, this yellow line of resistance right here. I do think that it's possible that we do come up, and this could happen a lot sooner than later if Bitcoin climbs. Bitcoin's looking pretty good right now. I do think we could come up to this level right here because Riot could potentially print a very extended, broad-shouldered head and shoulders pattern, okay? So that'll take us up about 25 to 30% from, the 1380 to 1430 region right in this area. That's where we have this little range right here, sideways range, that would constitute the opposite shoulder relative to what this would become if we were to play this out. So maybe we print a head and shoulders. Hopefully, honestly, that's not the case because then that would lead to downside. Then we'd probably come back down to, like the $7 region if we actually did play out a head and shoulders. But if we do break short-term resistance on the shorter-term ascending channel, I do think this, 1380 to 1430 region would kind of be an area to look for in terms of short-term profit targets. I know I'll be taking profits around there personally, at least on my call options, not on my share position, not on my common shares, but on my call options position. Okay, so long-term best case scenario for Riot, I'll just close it out with the best case scenario because that's fun. If Riot can reclaim this long-term ascending channel, you can see here this white line is the line of support on this long-term ascending channel, almost megaphony because it's becoming exponentially wider. Maybe not exponentially, gradually wider over time. Best case scenario is Riot tests the line of resistance on this old broken below. But again, if we reclaim this ascending channel, Riot breaks back into here, tests the top line of resistance. Bitcoin halving is in April or May of next year, most likely April of 2024. That would catalyze a bull run for Bitcoin, or at least in the months that follow. If that's the case, I do think Riot could near about $50. Again, there's been a lot of stock dilution. I don't know if Riot ever sees honestly don't know if Riot ever sees $100 per share, unless Bitcoin's at a few $100,000. But I do think that $50 is entirely possible, and I do think it's possible by next summer. So if you're holding shares, this ain't financial advice, but for me personally, holding shares, just sitting back and relaxing. Call options, of course, those will be more active. So once again, if you want to trade with me on a daily basis, not trade with me, you guys know what I mean. If you want to know how I'm trading on a daily basis, first link in the description once again. I'm excited for what's to come. There are plenty of positions in the portfolio that are showing promise right now, and I'm excited for the holiday season. So I appreciate you watching. I hope you got some value out of this, and I'll see you in the comments downstairs. Until next time, always remember, team, take action, make waves. Peace.